Hi everybody and welcome to my first solo podcast, and this one is going to be about none other than The Legend of Zelda. What else did you expect from me? Here we go. So the Legend of Zelda franchise is going to be turning 40 this year, the big 40, and while there hasn't been any official announcements for any new Zelda titles for this occasion, there is lots of speculation going around. One project that has been announced and is confirmed and is well and truly underway is the Legend of Zelda movie. Yes, I know I'm talking about a movie on a gaming channel, but the movie's about a video game, so let me have this one. To say that I'm hyped for this film is an understatement. This is a project that's been in the works for a very long time, and it's finally got the ball rolling. It's gonna happen. The official statement on the release date is that it's going to be in May 2027, so I've marked it on my calendar and I will be going to see it when it does come out in 2027. Now, video games being made into films isn't a new concept, and I know there are lots of bad examples of this happening, looking at things like Super Mario Bros. From 1993, for example. There was even a point where it was considered a curse to make a video game adaptation into a film or a TV series. It was considered cursed for quite a long time. Fortunately, that curse has now been broken. We do have lots of examples of video game adaptations that have been receiving very high praise. A few examples of these are, of course, The Last of Us, and the most recent example is Iron Lung. So this most recent project for Legend of Zelda movie isn't the first of its kind. There were two other attempts for this film to get made previously. One in, I think it was 2007. I think Nintendo rejected that, and then Netflix tried something, I think it was, but that also got rejected. So third time's the charm. We're finally getting a Legend of Zelda film by Sony, which wasn't what I was expecting, but I am willing to trust them with this project. Now, people like myself have played these games for a very long time. We've got very high expectations, and we've loved these stories that The Legend of Zelda have given us for so many years. Fortunately for the filmmakers, they've now realised how influential these stories are and are very respectful of the source material, hence why we've had more successful video game adaptations in recent years. So hopefully that trend will continue into this project, and they'll be able to deliver a very clean project and a very clean final film. Speaking of the source material, we actually don't know which video games from the Legend of Zelda franchise will be used in the film, if it's just going to be one game, if it's going to be multiple games, if it's going to be its own thing, because that could happen. The film could be a completely different thing from any of the games. I don't imagine they'd change the story drastically, but at the same time, I would think that they'd want the film to stand apart from the games, which is a good direction to use. And the other question that's plaguing on my mind is this film going to have its own place on the Legend of Zelda timeline? Now, the Legend of Zelda timeline for all of the games is, how do I put this delicately? It's hard to comprehend. It is an absolute mind mesh, and it takes an absolute nerd like myself to understand how the Legend of Zelda timeline works. So we're going to see how that plays into the film when it comes out as well, and hopefully we'll get some more information about that closer to the release date, because we don't even have a trailer yet. We have a casting, and we've seen who is going to be playing Link and Zelda, and I think they've done a really good job on the casting so far. There is one big question that is on my mind about this film, though. So, fellow Legend of Zelda fans will also know that across the vast majority of the Legend of Zelda franchise, Link hasn't said a word. We never hear Link speak in the Legend of Zelda games. So, will he be talking in the film is one of the questions that keeps coming up again whenever I see anybody talking about this. And if he is, how is it going to be approached? And how is this character going to work as well? Because it is such an iconic character. We're not talking about the Legend of Zelda animated series, by the way.
Well, excuse me!
I said we're not talking about the Legend of Zelda animated series, by the way. Getting back to my script. It's going to be really interesting to see how filmmakers approach this project, and honestly, I think we can trust the cast to pull this off. It is not going to be an easy project for them, but I do have a lot of faith that they will be able to carry this and help make it be a very successful piece. All I've got to say is hats off to Benjamin Evans Ainsworth, because that boy is taking on a lot of responsibility. Now, I think he can pull this off. I have seen him act before. I obviously watched his performance in Haunting of Bly Manor, and he did very well there. So I do think we can trust him with this character. But it is going to be really interesting to see how he fleshes out this historically noticeable character and see what he does with his lines, if he has any lines. We don't know yet. So the casting has been spot on. We have seen some still images of the cast in their full costume, and it looks good. It does look very Breath of the Wild type vibes based on Zelda's costume. I don't know if that's going to stick full scale into the rest of the project. This is one of the things where we're going to have to wait and see. There is a lot of speculation around this project, as it is an ongoing project, and there is very little to go off. It's going to take some time, and I probably will have to do another podcast about this when we get closer to the release date, and I'll probably will do a review somewhere, either on this channel or on the main channel as well. So quickly to conclude, I think The Legend of Zelda is going to be a great addition to the franchise. This film could really help the franchise move forward into the next generation, because I think that is the ambition of this film. It's to try and bring a younger generation into a franchise that is 40 years old. So it's a pathway for younger generations to start their interest in The Legend of Zelda and into some of the older Nintendo franchises. So I think it's going to be a very welcome addition, and I'm hopeful that the younger generations will be able to love this film and the older Zelda games just as much as we still do. So on that bombshell, I think it is time for me to end this podcast. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, comment and subscribe if you haven't done so already. My first gaming podcast is over.